Alright, so I know it's been a few days since our last history lesson, and I have good reasons for that, but we're going to get into it right now. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about the M26 Pershing. It is a heavy tank, later designated as a medium tank, and the reason it took me almost a week to make this video is because of all of the research I had to do, because the more I looked into it, the wilder it got. Pull up your bootstraps, boys, and put on your helmets. This is about to get autistic as fuck. So the M26 Pershing officially has been around since 1944 to 1951. However, it didn't start off as an M26 Pershing. It started off as a T-26E3. The T-26E3 was one of the very first heavy tanks introduced to the European theater, and it was only in theater from January of 1945 till March of 1945. Now, in March of 1945 is when the T-26E3 officially became the M26 Pershing, and it had a 90mm gun with two 30-06 machine guns and a 50 caliber Ma Deuce Browning machine gun on top. Touch on what I said about the M4 Sherman directly leading to the M1 Abrams. Let's do the math real quick. So the T series of tanks were built to replace the M4 series of tanks. So the M4 Sherman, especially the M4 Sherman Jumbo, was one of the very first heavy tanks used in World War II. They were classified as medium tanks, but they were a lot smaller than what the T-series tanks were. Now, if we're going to go through the prototypes and variants first, and then timelines, let's do that. So we start off with the T-20, which is a 76mm gun. There was only one built of those. Then you got the T-20E2, 76mm gun, one built of those. The T-22, there was two built of those. The T-22E1 had an auto loader in it, and there was only one built of those. The T-23 had 250 plus built. I don't think any of them saw combat. The T-23E3, there was one built. That one had updated suspension. And then the T-23E4 had three built. So that one had 23-inch wide tracks instead of 19-inch wide tracks. The T-25, this is where we first see the 90mm gun. There was two built of those. The T-25E1 had an updated engine. There were 40 built of those. The T-26, so here now we're getting into the Pershing series. Again, 90mm gun, there was one built of those. The T-26E1, there was 10 built of those. The T-26E2 had a 105mm gun, there was 185 of those built. The T-26E3, which is later designated as the M26, 90mm gun, and there were over 2,000 of those built.